This is the Unstuck Movement. Welcome back. These are true testimonies of breakthrough. We have the powerful Rick Cram with us on the show today. Today, we're talking resilience. We're talking pain, breakthroughs, faith, and the power of planning in our lives. And Rick, I'd like to jump in right off the bat, and I have a question for you. So you've had multiple knee surgeries. Is that correct? How many knee surgeries have you had?
Seven
Knee surgeries. So you were at the Lenox Hill Hospital whenever you were recovering from your third surgery, and something powerful happened. And I wanted to start this off talking about the power of focus and what to focus on. Can you walk us through what happened that day at that hospital and how it changed your life?
Oh, it changed my life profoundly in two key ways. There, I had my third surgery, which was they removed half the kneecap, the rest of the meniscus, did some other work. They brought some of the VMO, part of the quad, down to over the kneecap because it had been tracking over the course of the end of the femur after the first and second surgeries. And I was there. The doctor had said to me, "You're not going home for Christmas." The surgery was on December 14th of that year. And so I was looking at least maybe a 2-week stay to recover. And my knee felt like I was in a vice. That's one of the things that I experienced after the first and second surgeries. I was in a tremendous amount of pain. Every other day after the surgery, a woman came in and did something that really helped me. She washed my hair. It was the same woman every day. It was a moment of comfort, a moment of soothing. And I started to get to know this woman. About a week and a half had gone by, and then a different woman came in to wash my hair. She walks in, doesn't say a word. We don't talk at all. She washes my hair. She puts everything back on the cart that she had wheeled in. And then she spoke her first words to me with a question. After she said, "You're in a lot of pain, aren't you?" Then she asked me if she could walk around the side of the bed to my left leg, which is there all wrapped up. And she said, would you tell me, do you believe in Jesus? And I was actually shocked by the question. No one ever asked me that out of the blue, especially someone that I don't know. And interestingly, that she did ask me, because I said yes, but grudgingly, because I was at this point, after all the pain from the football injury, the pain through the first and second surgeries. I had failed every college class the semester before because I was in so much pain. I was angry at God, angry at Jesus. So when I said, yes, I believe in Jesus, I did so with some reservation. But then she said, close your eyes and focus. Focus, put your entire focus on Jesus. And I went along with it. And as I do that, I close my eyes. She puts her hand just below my knee and says, nothing at all. Just keeps it there for about 6 or 7 seconds. And then she takes her hand off my leg, starts walking around the bed again over to her cart. I open my eyes and she looks at me and says very confidently, when I was putting my hand on your leg, you didn't feel any pain, did you? And my jaw just dropped. And I realized while I said yes to her, and I asked her, how did you know? She said, anytime you put your entire focus on Jesus, anything is possible. And that was transformative, and it's never left me. It has stuck with me in 2 key ways. It transformed my faith, and it taught me a lesson about focus. You know, we can focus on, and people who are in pain know what it's like to have pain hijack their focus and hijack their energy and frustrate their hope. People who are dealing with a lot of stress, 57% of Americans say they feel paralyzed by the amount of stress that they're carrying. But if we think about the power of focus, we can realize that what we focus on is what we experience. Mm-hmm. Then I focused on Jesus, and I was experiencing Jesus. When I focus on hope when I'm in pain, I experience hope. When I focus on a certain perspective, such as having a long-term perspective, I am experiencing a long-term perspective. So focus was one of the powerful lessons from that hospital experience.
Yeah, focus is an amazing thing, isn't it? Because we're usually not paying attention to what we're focusing on. We're focusing on something. We have to be focusing on something. There's really no option there. There's something you're paying attention to, but being aware of it and choosing where you choose to put your focus is really, really powerful. I love that story because that is number one, builds my faith just to hear that and know what it had to have done for you in that moment.
Yeah.
But it's such a practical example, such practical information, because this is what I love about these podcasts is we talk about practical things that have real substantial impact in your life. And this is one of those practical things that, boy, it's so easy to not be aware of your focus. It's so easy to let that focus drift, and we kind of give away that power of that focus. Every second of every day, we have to make those choices. And so to be able to keep ourselves in that place is a challenge, but there's so much power there.
Day to day, we have choices to make. You used that word, and then honing in on that word, Rob. We have choices. People who are in pain, physical pain, and there are 50 million people in the U.S. who live with chronic pain. I don't know, I'm one of them. I hope you're not. Or those 57% of people who are dealing with so much stress. Choice becomes, and the importance of it becomes magnified. We need to make more choices to be resilient. We need to make more choices to get through it, to get unstuck. And so that word choice means a lot. A lot of times we can get the sense that, such as when pain hijacks that focus and it can keep it away from us, we need to be extra deliberate with those choices.
Yeah. 100%. So just a great place to start in this episode. So I want to pause just for a second to recalibrate ourselves. Now, this podcast was created to help people get unstuck. Clearly, the title is the Unstuck Movement, these true testimonies of breakthrough. And I'm so excited to tell your story today, Rick, because I know it's a powerful one. And I want to encourage people who are watching that breakthrough is possible for you. We are sponsored by the Connected Leaders Academy. You can check out connectedleadersacademy.com. Nearly 500 leaders from all over the world, heart-centered leaders helping each other grow, and also the Pro Podcaster Academy. So if you're somebody who wants to launch your platform, launch your podcast, be the go-to authority at what you do, be the expert in your field, make a lasting impact on people's lives, and also create incredible personal and professional connections, you should launch your own podcast. I would love to help you do that. You can go to robzwentz.com. That's the website for the Pro Podcaster Academy. Join the waitlist. And if you have a podcast, I'd love to help you streamline it. I would love to help you take it to where it maybe takes you hours to get done. It may cost you a lot of money to get it done, to streamline that process and also monetize it so that it benefits you and the people who engage with it. Today, we have the powerful Rick Cram with us, a resilience coach who helps people transform pain into purpose using his Plan to Be Your Best method. He brings 30 plus years of experience in leadership consulting and 20 plus years as a caregiver to his powerful coaching approach. So talking about focus, how do you keep, Rick, your focus throughout the day? It's so easy to lose focus and not be aware of it. What strategies do you have to maintain your focus?
It's a matter of regaining it many times over and over. Because what I experienced day in and day out since the 7th surgery on my left knee are instant blasts of agony. And the knee has been left in a state of trauma. And so every time I get a blast of pain, and I never know when it is, when the next one's coming, I need to win back my own focus. When I was going through surgeries 4, 5, and 6, I realized that the level of pain needed to be matched by the level of intentionality. And so that's when I was started putting together the methodology for Plan to Be Your Best as you navigate pain. And it really evolved over the course of the years after that and leading up to going through surgery number 7. And one of the parts of the Plan to Be Your Best method are the 3 steps of resilience. The first step is tune in. The second is plan. And the third, be your best. I found that it is entirely possible to use 3 seemingly simple steps to regain focus and spark new positive energy and fuel for hope to move forward. The steps are, in effect, are simple. Tune in, plan, be your best. But what you do in each of those steps matters greatly. You and I are both communicators. Tune in that first step. For example, one of the things that I experience when I'm working with clients or if I'm out to dinner, have a blast of pain, and it's a major distraction. I'm usually writhing for a moment and it interrupts everything. So I tune in, and I practice this over and over again. Tune into what I need right now. And the more I tune in, drawing on some of my marketing experience, and you'll understand this, that in leadership, the more we understand our audience, the more effective we can be at leading them, communicating with them. And to a great extent, the more I understand, and what I help people do is to tune into the point where you understand in the moment what you need the most, because you'll find the keys to what to do next and what you choose to do in that plan step. The more clear that tune in is. In the old days with car radios, you'd try to dial in and tune in. You might get close to 106.7, you might get 106.6, and it's a little bit fuzzy. But if you really tune into 106.7, you can understand what you need in the moment. And then that sets the stage for what to do in the plan step and be your best step.
Yeah, very true. The tuning in. It's a great way of giving that visual too, because you can be just a little bit of hair off and it's not quite where it needs to be. So really tuning in is such an important thing. And I love what you said there a minute ago. The level, I'm always looking for themes in the show, by the way. I'm looking for themes that show up. And here's a theme that has shown up that you said, level of pain. The level of pain must be matched by your level of intentionality. And that can apply to everything in your life. That's a really powerful way of, I want people who are listening and watching to take that in. Think about that. Your level of pain must be matched by your level of intentionality. And that intentionality can and will offset that pain. Being intentional.
Another way to put it is the pain will make you stuck.
Yeah.
There's the mental response to it, and there's the emotional response to it. You've got the physical pain, but then there's this array of secondary sources of pain, and it can quickly whip up into a cyclone, a tempest of storm and thoughts, emotions, and basically more pain. I was asked to deliver a program for the 50 top leaders of a bank some years ago. They said, Rick, our pain point is that our managers are dealing with change exhaustion. And so they said, we need a full day plan to be your best program. And their pain points meant that their communication was diminished, their teamwork was diminished, they were less effective at being productive, their productivity was going down. There's about 7 or 8 different symptoms of change exhaustion, including stress and feeling stuck. Interestingly, after half the day went by, after the lunch, we're into the afternoon part of the program, one of the managers raised his hand and said, Rick, plan to be your best is all well and good, but I'm too busy to plan. And actually right there was this laughter in the room. People were reacting, saying with their laughter, I can't believe you just said that. And some of them were laughing because they could relate to that as well. That statement, I'm too busy to plan, to rephrase that a little bit, I'm excessively busy. And if you're excessive of anything with busyness, there's the evidence of change exhaustion right there. He was so stuck in this modality of stress and work that he didn't have time, or he was so stuck that he couldn't even pause and see the value of planning. And I dare say that in the 3 steps of resilience, tune in, plan, and be your best. Be your best is basically following through on what you choose to do in the plan step. I've found that planning, pausing and thinking about certainly what you need from tuning in, but looking at your options and creating a list that eventually works into your resilience toolkit. But that pause and thinking about what you're going to do is actually probably the most powerful of those 3 steps. If you can pause enough to calm down, you're automatically lowering the cortisol level, the stress hormone, and you're starting to calm down the emotions and think more clearly. And it's in that moment, just as pain happens in a moment, just as stress might hijack your focus in the moment, resilience happens in the moment. And being clear enough and calm enough to pick something. And it might be whatever it is. If you're, for example, for both of us and for our listeners, thinking about whatever is keeping us stuck right now, actually understanding what's keeping us stuck is from that tune-in step, can be providing with the keys of what to do in your plan step. That moment is really just so powerful. I'll pause there to get your thoughts, Rob, but I just want to make that point.
Yeah, and I've heard this too from clients and just from people in my life, that too busy to make any plans. But making plans, really, I mean, you can spend 10 minutes at the end of the night. You could spend 15 minutes at the beginning of the day. Planning doesn't have to take forever. You have to get into the habit of planning to where it can be more and more efficient and you can streamline it. But at the same time, it's the intentionality, going back to the word intention. It's the intentionality, like, okay, I'm going to take the next, because we all have 10 minutes. We all have 20 minutes in a day. Even somebody who's extremely busy has a window. So just doing a little bit of planning can give you so much clarity, can relieve your stress, and it makes you more intentional on where do I want to put my focus, instead of, because somebody who's, change overload and they're burnout from that sort of thing. And I think through life, especially right now, so much is changing and people get overloaded. They get mentally overloaded. So you're always putting out fires. Yeah. You're not looking at what's to come and putting your intention on this thing is the most important thing. This needs to get done first. These things can wait. But when you're not planning, the things that could wait are usually the things that are coming at you like, oh, this needs to get done right now. It seems like it's so urgent to get done. But if you plan well enough, okay, I can put those things off to a later time and get the real important stuff done. So it's really, really important just to understand that concept. Before we go any further into where we're going, I have to back up, though, because I am curious, what did happen to your knee that you've had so many surgeries on it? I want to know that personally for myself, just to understand what had happened to you, because it's amazing, right? The pain, which is the title of this podcast, The Hidden Power in Pain. The pain has caused great power in your life and great things to emerge from it. What did happen to you?
It was about 2 minutes to go in the last football game of my senior high school season. We were winning and we won. It was a glory day. It's a beautiful sunny day like it is now. And early November in Connecticut, up in New Milford, Connecticut. I went to high school in Weston, Connecticut. With about 2 minutes to go in the game, the coach had signaled, we're about to send in the junior varsity to finish out this game. Rick, this is going to be a running play for you. This is going to be your next to last play on the field. I was given the ball to sweep around to the right. And as I'm trying to turn the corner, the defensive halfback had an angle on me. And he grabbed the back of my jersey and he continued, and he fell down specifically, deliberately, to whip me over in a backwards flip, and my knee whiplashed into the ground. Tore all the cartilage, bone chips, and I got up from that like I had gotten up after breaking a rib the previous year, gotten up after breaking a wrist in my freshman year. I could tell this was not a typical injury. I had the adrenaline in me to get up and go play one more play. I didn't carry the ball, but my knee was on fire. So the first surgery was the following March, and that ended up causing more problems. That kneecap started tracking back and forth over the femur and doubled in size. And surgery number 2 was a trick to see if it would fix it, but it didn't. So the third surgery was that experience at Lenox Hill Hospital, where they removed half the kneecap to bring it back down to normal size, and basically removed the rest of the meniscus. So at the age of 20, I had a fully arthritic knee.
Wow. It's interesting. So dealing with chronic pain, I also, my back, there's some chronic pain there. It bothers me on a daily basis. And I was preparing for this episode, and I was thinking about what you were talking about with your knee and how great lessons have come out of it. Yeah. And I've had so many lessons come out of the situation in my back too. I've had so many lessons of, well, I fell on a sitting up beer bottle at a party when I was 21, bounced off of a bed and landed on it. And it was sitting straight up, and it really, really hurt. And one of the lessons was, partying, not the right way to go. It was an easy lesson to take from that. But there's been so many lessons over the years of, like you said, about focus. And this is an interesting one for me, when I put focus gently, like just observe where the pain is. And I'm going to apply Jesus to this now that you talked about that, and ask Jesus to come into that place. And I'll also just focus on Jesus when I'm feeling that pain. But one of the things that has helped me so much is I rest my focus on that area. I'm not like anguishing about it or like being negative about it. I'm just looking at it, right? And as I look at it, the pain dissipates, which I find really fascinating. But it's like the more I avoid the pain, so it's a great metaphor for life. The more I avoid the pain, the worse it gets. But the more that I accept it, don't resist it, and look at it, I'm not obsessing over it, but I am focusing on it. I'm observing it. The pain gets less and less. And it's exactly like life. When we don't look at the things that are the problems and we avoid them, they grow and they get really bad, because by not looking at them, we're technically, I'm trying to put my words together so it makes sense. But even though I'm not obsessing on it because it hurts, I don't want to look at it. So it doesn't go away. But I still am paying attention to it by not looking at it, by trying to work around it. I'm still paying attention to it because it's the center point of what I don't want to focus on. So the more I give it focus and I plan around it, I have intentionality around it, whatever the thing may be, the pain gets less and less and less, because the intentionality and the plan helps to eliminate that pain. I just wanted to share that because I feel like we have a common bond in that understanding.
We certainly do, brother. When you focus on it, are you caring for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not focusing on it in like a, oh, I hate this kind of way. Yeah. It's like in a, I see you, like a, just how when somebody else is hurting and they know that they've been seen, they know that they're understood, that somebody cares about them, things get better. It's the same situation. Someone in my care once came to me, and the first thing that he said when he sat down was, "Rick, I just wish people would understand. That's what I need the most." And it's so true. I believe there are a number of things that people sort of have a primary set of needs, a hierarchy of needs, so to speak, because of their pain journey. One is to be understood, to understand their own pain, to understand themselves. I believe they need compassion, empathy. They need to have opportunities to express what they're experiencing, what they're thinking, what they're feeling. If we look at a reaction to pain where we perhaps don't look at it or look at our own needs, perhaps dangerously, where we deny it, we reject it, that's the trap that starts that tempest of thought, of thoughts and emotion and more pain. If a good friend of mine in England, Natty Beltram, who once said,
the moment we start to reject reality is when the fight begins. Mm-hmm. And it's so true. She's a neuroscientist and a leadership professional like yourself. So, and there's this wonderful quote. I'm going to see if I can come up with the name of it, but the business owner once said that what a leader needs to do first is define reality. The last thing they do is to say thank you, and in between is to serve. But that first point, when we do look at the pain, the cause of it, and how we're reacting to it, that's defining reality. And to be resilient, we need to be realistic. And one of the things that come to mind as I'm listening to you is these are patterns. That intentionality is best served when we develop those patterns of tuning in, planning, and being our best. That person who raised his hand and complained about, I'm too busy to plan, was reflecting the pattern that he's in of go, 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 do, 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 that ping pong bouncing back and forth kind of modality, as opposed to looking at, all right, I've got to break that pattern, which is what planning helps to do.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And so I want to pause here for a second. We got to shout out the sponsor of the show. When we come back, though, I want to talk about being your best, because that can be something that somebody might not even know what it means to be their best. How do I be my best on a daily basis? What does that even look like? And I'm being honest, because that's something that I think people struggle with, is like, well, who am I at my best? How do I even act and live from that place? So I'd really love to discuss that, what that looks like for you and how we can apply that. We'll talk about that when we come back in a minute. Are you struggling to make consistent, valuable content for yourself? Do you want to have an efficient and effective way to create content that attracts the people that you want to connect with in life, the people you want to build relationships with in business? Do you want to be the go-to authority at what you do, at what you're great at? Would it be helpful for you if you had a platform that connects you to incredible people in your industry? The kind of platform that gets you leads and lands you clients without you having to beat down anybody's door or blow up anybody's inbox. Whether you're already creating content or you're desiring to start and it's something that's been kind of burning inside of you for a while, I urge you and encourage you to check out the Pro Podcaster Academy. Get started right now. Join the waitlist at robzwentz.com.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world globally. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Loving this conversation, Rick. Such good stuff. Talking about being your best, what does that look like for you? What does that mean to you?
A great question, because if we look online, do a Google search, you'll easily see hundreds of options, and many of them have 18, 24, 28 different things that define what it means to be your best. But let me put it to you this way, very simply. It's your greatest strengths in action. And let me break that apart a little bit. Your greatest strengths. It's what you do naturally and well. And that phrase starts with you. Is you, your own unique ability to do things not only that are beneficial for yourself, that's exceptional for yourself, as well as for others. Mm-hmm. So your greatest strengths are those things that we have an innate ability to do, and we're likely to have, when we look at those strengths, your strengths or mine, we will sort of even enjoy and take pleasure in them. We might even perpetually nurture them. Some people, for example, and I consider myself one of them, a good listener. I enjoy being a listener, a compassionate, active listener. And that's one of the things that's part of the plan to be your best as you navigate pain training, both to listen to others, but also to how to listen to yourself. But as though your greatest strengths in action. We are at our best only when we are applying those, acting on them. So that's how I define being your best, your greatest strengths in action.
How do you live from your strengths? What does that look like on a daily basis? Number one, I mean, going into helping people find their strengths is one thing, but designing your life so that you can actually live from those things on a daily basis is something that a lot of people struggle with because they have a job that doesn't cater to their strengths or whatever it might be, right? There's a million different reasons somebody could come up with as a reason. But what does that look like to live from your strengths on a daily basis?
A great question, Rob. And let me just say, one of the reasons why that's such a good question is because whether it's stress, physical pain, being unhappy in your work, or lonely, which we know that there's a loneliness epidemic in the country. Mm-hmm. This is where one other part of the Plan to Be Your Best methodology comes in. And we call them the 8 domains of thriving. These are 8 domains where we go to learn more and seek out what are those actions, what are those strengths, and what strengths do we need to further nurture and build on. Each of the 8 domains provides a progression of different ways to basically feed your best. And I think of it as a well with fresh water. Every time you go back into one of those domains and do some good work, and sometimes the work might be a slight change, or it might be a 180-degree change that's necessary. But the more you keep going back to that well, the deeper it gets, the more fresh water there is to fuel being your best and to be resilient and to thrive. The first one, just to give you an example, the first one is prepare. The P in plan and best, those are acronyms, stands for prepare. And in this domain, we focus on one essence of it is to understand what your identity is. Stress, excessive pain, or a major transition in life, like losing a job, can shake a sense of identity. So one of the places to begin is to re-anchoring in your identity so that you can build and move forward from there. And it's not hard to do. I hear this often, and I heard it a lot through the pandemic. People saying very plainly, I don't know who I am anymore, and I don't know what to do about it. There was a woman in one particular program audience when I'm leading a group through a Plan to Be Your Best workshop, and we were talking about our identity, and she raised her hand and said exactly that. I don't know who I am. And she added, while she didn't know what to do about it, you could actually hear the upset and confusion in her mind of saying that. She said, I feel like I don't have any value. Mm. So we went through a certain exercise where we simply looked at a few questions. And I asked them to make a list. Everyone participated in this. Make a list of what's true about you, what's good about you, and what's unchangeable about you. Think of it a different way, and you'll recognize this. What is your way? What is your truth? And what do you do? And how are you in life and in relationships where you bring light and life to others? After we went through that exercise, and at the end of the program, you could see her whole posture. She was sitting up, and there was this energy coming from her. And she said, I realize now who I am and the value that I bring. It changed, it really was transformative for her. So the domains work in that way, the 8 domains of thriving. That was one example.
Yeah. And that's one of the benefits, one of the necessities of having people around you who encourage you and you encourage them. The groups like you're talking about, you get it's really, especially when you're down on yourself, it can be really hard to see what your gifts are, what your strengths are, what your value is. And when you're isolated, which if you're down on yourself, we tend to isolate. The more you isolate yourself, the less you're going to get feedback on what you're really meant to do here on this earth. And the more we get around like-minded people, or we go and be of service, right? When we go and be of service, that's going to bring out those gifts and those strengths that we have. And it can be that simple. Now, when you're in the middle of a funk, it's not that simple. Well, it still is that simple, but it's not that easy to go do, right? It's got to be a very conscious decision to go do those things. And you were mentioning about the pandemic and people losing kind of their sense of purpose. And I think I've been having this conversation lately with a couple of people, but our identities are in life are so attached to what we do for a job, what our career is. When somebody asks, hey, tell me about you, one of the first things you tell them is what you do for a living, because we spend so much time working. And I love the concept of when you aren't doing, who are you being, right? That's the real you, that being. What would you say for yourself when you're not doing? Who are you being, and how does that shape how you live?
I was down on my knees, literally and figuratively, in so much pain a couple of years ago. And I had started working on the book, finding a hard time getting through it, getting it done. I'm still working on it. But I was really in a tough place. And I'll be candid. I grieve a little bit every day because of the amount of pain that I deal with. I am in the pit usually once or twice a week. But in that place, I prayed. I said, God, I need you. And I heard back a whisper in the heart immediately, I need you too. And that reminded me of the purpose that I have, the call that I have, the choice that I've been making, and that is to encourage and equip others to plan to be your best as they navigate pain. Part of my thriving with this amount of pain is a combination of being able to express it more and to be of service to others. We're talking at a very interesting time, Rob, because in January, my baseline pain, it went up about 3 to 4 times more than what it usually is. And so it was a tough winter. And I ended up using the time to learn from it. You mentioned the intentional, deliberate thing of learning through pain. And I found being curious and seeking to learn through the journey is an important aspect of it. There's always more to learn. And so I've actually, I got to a point where I've been learning so much about the significance of expressing what my experience is day in and day out, moment to moment even sometimes, and doing more of being service. And I find that if I'm not doing enough of either one of those, I can actually get into a funk. I can get down and on myself and into the pit a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the backsliding, right? There's the idea, and it's a very true idea, although we fall into it often, the idea that there's no standing still. You're either moving forward or you're falling backward. And if you're standing still, you're slowly falling backward. You might not realize it right away, but that's the case. And so always be intentional on moving forward and growing, and service is such a big part of that. So I love that, Rick. That's so good. As we come to the end of this episode, I want to encourage people to go to your website. So on the website, right in the front page, they can check out the PDF. They can download it for the 3 Steps to Resilience at rickcram.com. Do you want to talk a little bit about those 3 steps to resilience?
Oh, thank you very much, Rob. This is a free downloadable PDF that you can reuse over and over. It's a fillable, where you'll see the 3 fields, one for each of the 3 steps of resilience, to tune in, where you can write out. And it's so helpful, whether you type it out or write it out. Use blue ink, by the way, because there are studies that show that when we write in blue ink, a couple of things happen. It's more calming, and we are more likely remember what we're writing.
Interesting.
And there are other benefits to it. It is very interesting. But use the time to pause, lower the cortisol, be in the moment, and gain some clarity about what are those things that you're experiencing. What are your pain points? And then pause, reflect on it, and then you'll see the prompt for the plan step, where you'll write out optional things that you can do. And look for this in that moment of planning, in a way that you're going to naturally be more calm. You'll be in the moment, but by virtue of looking forward to what you'll do, whether it's in a few moments or in a week or next month, whatever it might be, you're actually, in a way, transcending time. You're starting to calm even further and make decisions about what you're going to do to become unstuck, either in the moment, and perhaps I said this earlier, but just as pain happens in the moment, so does resilience. So there's being in the moment, numerous advantages and real power to that. And then be your best, take action, and write out then in the field that you'll see on that one pager, write out what you experience, because when you follow through on what you do, what your choice was, you'll experience something, and it's worth acknowledging what, especially the goodness that you've experienced. The T in the last domain of the 8 domains of thriving is triumph. It's so worthwhile and important to celebrate even the smallest triumphs.
Yeah, that's so true. We can blow right through those, right? You can blow right through those triumphs because you got to get to the next one. That's such a great point, and it's very, very true, especially anybody who's an achiever, an overachiever, who's just building their life on their successes. It's easy to forget to stop and smell the roses, especially on the really small things that are great victories, but they're small victories, right, throughout the day. That's very important. So go to rickcram.com. And I want to encourage you guys also, if you want to be the authority in your space, launch your podcast or streamline the podcast you already have and monetize it. I'd love to help you with that at robzwentz.com. Anything you'd like to leave the audience with before we sign off, Rick?
I would just want to encourage you. This is a conversation about getting unstuck. Think about getting unstuck as a new pattern, just as being stuck creates a pattern all of its own. And in a way that our brains do work in a way to keep us right where we are. So one of the best things to do is practice a new pattern of getting unstuck, even for a moment, and then repeat that over and over again. And I definitely want to say, Rob, thank you so much for inviting me as a guest.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. Amen to that. So true. And I just want to encourage everybody. Listen, this show is for breakthrough, right? So these are real examples, true testimonies of breakthrough. So it's possible for you, no matter what you're going through, to find that breakthrough, but you got to keep going. Tune in. Number one, I love how you put it, because it's so true. And it really is, like you said, the best things in life are simple. They might not be easy sometimes, but they're simple. Tune in, plan, and then be your best. Apply that to your life. Get unstuck, and we'll see you next time.